I am recognizing Juneteenth 2026 and the end of slavery by digesting the MAGA Republican dismantling of the Voting Rights Act of 1965. Slavery by physical restraint may have ended in 1865 on plantations, but it has not ended in our prison industrial complex, which enslaves blacks, browns, and the impoverished at far higher rates and with inequitable justice in relation to more privileged sectors of society. It just feels better because we have been conditioned to believe that those in prison deserve to be there regardless of circumstances and regardless of offense and regardless of restitution. For the rest of us, we are living under the increasing oppression of indentured servitude with livelihoods and health conditional upon the overlords of corporate industries and the tiny billionaire class who use their money to brutally extract resources from society with every passing year, tightening the noose of survival to limit the will and the ability of the working masses to resist and counter the oppression under which they live. But the greatest tragedy is that evoked by the MAGA Republican dismantling of our Voting Rights Act of 1965. After hundreds of years of enslavement and brutality, our black citizens successfully obtained equality under the law with a limited measure of power granted to them by the Voting Rights Act that protected their voting franchise and political representation. They bled and died for these basic measures of freedom, dignity, and justice. The American white population, however, could not assimilate the legal equality of black Americans into their conscience and feel collective joy if non-white citizens continued to live in parity with them. At its political core, this is what and who MAGA Republicans are as embodied in their Grandmaster Trump. Bigots, pure bigotry. Bigotry and their feelings of fear, hate, and shame drive their voting behavior. Our SCOTUS enabled the legal execution of bigotry in actively deconstructing the Voting Rights Act and proved themselves to be educated bigots in black robes. Within hours of the elimination of Section 2 of the Voting Rights Act, Republican maggots began the destruction of black congressional representation in southern states. This is who that one half of our nation are. Collective political bigots who feign equality under the law while using the same law to disenfranchise non-white and especially black representation. What we are living with the destruction of the Voting Rights Act is the evolution of our latest white supremacy narrative that creates apartheid structures to maintain white power. Hidden underneath this reality is a tiny billionaire class leveraging their extreme wealth to inflame our cultural bigotry among the lower economic classes while using the power of that bigotry to hoard resources away from the working masses. This political narrative has become our cultural narrative. It is politically violent, unfair, undignified, unjust, and oppressive. Yes, Juneteenth is a necessary holiday to spotlight the hate and bigotry that have shaped much of our nation's identity and to celebrate the end of slavery. But in 2026, it does not signal an end. It signals a new beginning against the same forces of hate that enabled slavery that are driving much of our nation's discord now. Have a wonderful Juneteenth and permit its meaning to enter your soul.